Chapter 36. Escape. As Quinn looked at Loop's body on the ground, he noticed something strange. His current health was at 10 HP and his body was naturally drawn to the blood. Whenever his health was low, he would get hungrier. That bit was a given, but something that also happened was his two canine teeth would start to grow longer. When they grow longer, it made it easier to pierce his victim's neck. Although Loop was bleeding and Quinn was able to just drink from the open wound. This would only give him the extra stat point. He needed a good supply to also fill his blood bank. When inserting his teeth into his victim, it felt as though he instinctively knew the best location that would allow him to take as much blood as possible. Quinn lifted Loop's body from the ground. Only a few inches were separating their faces. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that I'm finding it easier every time I do this. Quinn opened his mouth wildly, showing his teeth. He brought his mouth near Loop's neck and finally bit into his neck. A rush of blood entered into his mouth. The blood tasted sweet. 20 out of 20 HP restored. O blood type has been consumed. 1 free stat point has been added. Blood bank has been filled. Quinn had a few guesses at what the O type would do, but this was better than he had imagined. Quinn quickly opened up his status screen and wanted to decide what to put the stat into straight away. Strength 13 plus 3, Stamina 12, Agility 13. Quinn debated internally for a few minutes whether he should put his stat point into Stamina or not. If he did, his stats would become well-rounded. But he thought about all the people who were strong in the world right now. They were usually a specialist in a certain area. A jack of all trades was something too weak in this day and age. Not only that, but Quinn felt like his growth would be quicker if he specialized in strength or agility. It would allow him to carry on beating weak opponents. Then when he needed to, he could increase his stamina points at another time. It wasn't like Quinn was going to be facing an army of opponents anytime soon. Agility 14. In the end, Quinn decided to stick to his original plan and add his stat points into agility. Quinn stood in place looking at the duo's bodies, wondering what he should do. He was fairly certain that he had acted fast enough during his fight with Faye. He hoped that he hadn't seen anything that could give him away, but he couldn't say the same for Loop. When Quinn started to inspect Faye's body, he noticed that the bite marks on Faye's neck from Quinn had already disappeared. The doctor said the same thing happened with Layla, perhaps some type of effect from my ability. Quinn thought, well, that levels that problem, now what to do with you? Quinn pondered, looking at Loop's body. Although Quinn wore his mask, there was still the chance of someone figuring out it was him. After all, how many students used gauntlets as a weapon and also would have a grudge to attack these two? However, Quinn wasn't that afraid of them finding out his real identity. After all, the school didn't really care if Quinn beat them half to death. Actions like this were commonplace at the academy. Quinn wasn't afraid that Loop might tell everyone what he had seen. Even if he did, no one would believe what he had said. Throughout all of the history of abilities, there had never been any reports of an ability where someone had to consume something to gain power. The power had always come from within. And with no markings on their neck to prove it, they would be treated as madmen without any type of proof. While Quinn was in the middle of his thoughts, he was startled when he heard the door start to open again. Quinn moved instantly at a lightning speed to try and flee the scene, but quickly stopped when he saw it was someone familiar opening the door. There you are, Layla said. She then looked down and noticed the two bodies on the floor. Quick, we have to get out of here, the guards will be here any second now. Quinn had taken too much time. He wasn't planning to take out two people. When a student was knocked out in the school or badly beaten, the wristwatch was able to ping their location to the school and inform them they were hurt. Then once this message was pinged to them, the guards would pick the students up and take them to the hospital. No one knew how it quite worked, as it was amazing. The watch was able to tell how much health someone had. Rumors were spread that it was an ability of an original that created the watches. Quinn and Layla hastily ran down the stairs but stopped as they could hear the sound of footsteps coming in their direction. "Oh no, we can't go this way." Layla then started to look around the roof. "I have a plan, grab me and let's jump." "Are you crazy?" Quinn said. "Even with my strength from this height, I would at least break my legs, and even if I can heal, I still feel pain. Just trust me, come on, I can use my ability." Quinn quickly lifted Layla with both arms despite his protest. With his strength, Layla was lighter than ever. He jumped onto the fence and looked down. The school was incredibly high, it was at least 4 stories. "I'm counting on you," Quinn muttered as he leapt off the building. As the duo was falling from the rooftop at an incredible speed, Layla closed her eyes and started to concentrate. Sweat started to form on her brows when suddenly, the two of them started to decrease in speed. They eventually reached the ground. "Hey, that was pretty cool, you can fly?" Quinn asked, stunned. "No, my ability isn't that strong yet," Layla replied. "At most I can only slow us down. Come on, let's head back to our rooms." As the two of them headed to their rooms, Quinn explained everything that had happened on the rooftop. "Wait, what? Then aren't you worried that Luke might tell someone what happened?" "Not really, he has nothing to gain from it. Without any proof no one would believe him anyway, but there is one problem. There is the chance that if he does find out it's me, then he would come back with the others and attack me. I could take them out one-on-one, but as a group, I don't feel like I could stand a chance." "It's true," Layla replied. "A lot of the students have already formed their own groups and gangs to protect each other. All that's left are the ones that are too weak to be a part of anything." "I know, why don't you create your own group? I could be like a sub-leader. Of course, we would keep your thing a secret." "That's not a bad idea, especially if in the future we get targeted even more. Maybe I should ask Vorden if he knows anyone." The look on Layla's face suddenly dropped as she heard those words. "That crazy guy, I told you he was bad news, Quinn." "What, did something happen?" "It's best if you hear it from your friend Peter. Maybe then you will realize how bad it was. After all, he saw the whole thing." In the doctor's office, the 2 students who had been beaten on the roof were currently lying on hospital beds. The single Dr. Haley was busy as usual, and especially at night when the guards gathered the beaten students. How can the school just let these sorts of things happen? Surely there is a better way, Haley thought. As she went to check up on Faye, she noticed he was now sleeping calmly. After healing the claw marks on him, and there wasn't anything unusual. However, when she looked at Luke, something had caught her eye that concerned her. In a certain spot on the boy's neck, were 2 small puncture wounds similar to that of a snake bite. She had seen these signs before on another student, and just like before, the wound was already starting to heal itself. Haley then tapped her watch and waited a few moments for it to connect. "Hey General, I believe there might be a stray beast roaming around the school." "What? That's impossible, we have seen no signs indicating the presence of one," the voice on the watch replied. "But there have been some strange signs on 2 students, I'm a little bit worried." Haley said, "Please, for me, would just investigate it." Fine, whatever you want, how can I say no to my daughter?" Just then, though, as Haley got of her call, 2 military men came rushing in with another student on their back soaked in blood. "Hurry, this student is in critical condition," the guard shouted. They quickly placed the student on the bed, and Haley quickly got to work. She tried to use her abilities, but it was useless. The student was already too far gone. He had died. Haley then tapped her wristwatch once again to open up a digital report log. "Report, confirming the time of death 9:30 p.m., a first-year student named Brandon Richardson.